So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Neil and Paddy back again. I was going to do a piss take and start pretending that my internet was all messed up again there at the start, but I just didn't have the staying power for it, to be honest with you.
We're doing that to me now, Neil. I couldn't deal with it again.
Well, put it this way, I don't have a steering wheel in front of me this time, Paddy. So at least I'm stationary this time. So there is that. But I do apologize, and thanks a million, Paddy, for taking the reins and running with it on Saturday. I was obviously I was in the car, but 5G. We badly need 5G. I thought the double vaccine would give me 5G. That's what they told me on the internet, but no, it didn't. And looks like we're going to have to continue to wait for it to spread through the rest of the country. But less said about that, the better. What came after it was the main thing, Paddy, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're not here
just
to
like to tell the viewers, if you drop off tonight, bearing in mind I'm in the midst of a 2-day hangover, I'm just going to pull the plug. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, that's fine by me. That's fine by me. We'll send out. I have a few slides ready to go on the tactics talk tonight. We'll just send it out to the lads, and we'll send it out to everybody watching. You can watch your own then after that and make up your own mind. I won't be dropping off tonight. I don't have visits dropping off. No, the internet in my house is actually pretty decent. So can't complain about that. Paddy the Lone Ranger says, "True Magpie." I'm picturing you all right as the Lone Ranger there, for sure. But yeah, as I said, we're not here to talk about the team sheet tantrum. We're here to talk about what happened after it, and boy, what happened after it was definitely something I think we can all get behind, for sure. I suppose big thing, like I didn't really get to give my kind of reaction to the formation, and I was bloody delighted with the 3-5-2 again. There's so many benefits to it, and look, it suits the players that we have, and I think that we've got to get to a situation whereby you got to play the hand you're dealt, and to kind of use what you have, and I think Dean Smith is doing that, and he's getting the best out of it. Will we see it tomorrow night against Chelsea? Who knows? We might see someone like Naman Bogard in there in the back three with House and Tuanzebe, but who knows? It's going to be interesting tomorrow night either way. But this has given us a real impetus, and when we go to look at some of the key points in the game, and when we talk about some of the key points of the game, when we look at maybe some of the statistics as well, this new formation is really, really suiting the players that we have. And if you don't like this new formation, then I'm not sure you're going to like any formation, because we aren't going to play 4-4-2. We're not going to play 4-4-2 as much as people want. So that's just the way
I don't envisage they're going to change it on Wednesday either, for the simple reason it's going to give Courtney House 90 minutes to play in that position.
Yeah.
Ahead of Saturday, because Tuanzebe will be ineligible to play against his parent club.
Yes.
So Courtney House will need to be able to step into that position and possibly play in the Mings position of the back three. So that's my prediction for Wednesday night. But we're not here to talk about Wednesday night just yet. We might do it at the end.
No, we will at the end, yeah.
Wallow in the greatness of Saturday night.
Saturday was very good. And I'm going to kind of very quickly I suppose, I'm not going to skip over the first half, because us, we can't keep anything linear at all in this podcast. We go from back and forth and we talk about whatever comes into our minds, because we've got no real kind of rundown sheet or anything here. But look, the first half was tentative. I think both sides were feeling each other out. Everton had one or two chances. They had a random chance whereby he just poked it wide, and then they had a small chance from a corner that came after that again. But apart from that, Villa really kind of had the lion's share of possession in the first half, used the ball well, had chances from set pieces, specifically Mings' header where McGinn got the belt in the head, and we had another chance then from an absolutely audacious Danny Ings banana shot that we're going to look at. We're going to look at both of those instances. Actually, a lot of the stuff that we're going to look at from a tactics point of view comes from the first half, because it was so feely out of each other, if that even makes sense. And we're going to take a look at some of those as well, because look, the second half kind of speaks for itself. We set the tone early with Matty Cash figuring out that his left foot was for kicking as opposed to standing, and then of course a certain Jamaican superstar comes off the bench and brightens up the day, I think, for everybody. But talk to me, Paddy. I suppose talk to me about. Let's just hit the nail straight on the head. Give everyone what they want to hear. Talk to me about Leon Patrick Bailey, actually, I think his name is. So,
is it really?
Maybe they named him after you.
Look, I'm glowing at seeing him for those 20 odd minutes that he was on the pitch. I thought he was absolutely magnificent. He played without fear, hesitation, or regard for anybody else in front of him. I just thought he was magnificent. I will say I'm a little bit worried about these injuries he's picking up. He hasn't had them in the past. I hope he doesn't make a habit of it, because we need to be able to call on him all of the time. He is going to be our talisman going forward. He is the type of player that will unlock the likes of Man U, Man City, if we're going to go and get 3 points for a change against these teams. So I hope he stays fit. I hope it's just a precaution that he came off. He said it was, but by God, can the boy play? He's got so much in his armory. He obviously has a set piece, as we saw. He's got a rocket of a shot, and by God, has he got pace.
Yeah, he kind of alluded to it afterwards. And where was it? One of the guys mentioned it there. John Steele just mentioned it a moment ago. It's great to have a character with a bit of swagger and arrogance. I agree, because I think it was the fact that he realized, hey, listen, we're 3-0 up. We aren't losing this game. It's 80 whatever minute. He said that he felt a small little twinge in his quad or in his hamstring. Can't remember which one it was. He said when he was blasting the ball past Begovic. I'm okay with him coming off if he thinks that's the case. We were 3-0 up. It actually, to me, it kind of shows a sign of maturity. It's something that I wouldn't have really expected going on what we've heard about Bailey previously. Not that there was anything wrong with him or anything like that, but sometimes he was a bit of a, how will I put this? That basically Peter Bosch asked an awful lot of him at Leverkusen, and sometimes maybe he would question why he had to do certain things, not in a negative way or anything like that, but he was being played at wing back, and wing back didn't suit him. That was basically it. But no, I hope he's okay. I think he will be okay. I think he'll be there against United. Don't think he'll start against United, but I think he'll be thereabouts. I made my prediction in the pre-match that we might see him start up front. And hey, maybe he just wanted to give me what I thought he would have given us from the start when he came on, because I thought his pace would have caused that back three for that, it would actually turn out to be a back four that Everton played. And may I say that I did get something wrong, though. I thought that Ben Godfrey would be their ace in the pack in that back line. My God, we targeted him with every single ball on the ground. We targeted him, and he was dog at the weekend. He was awful, and so hold my hands up on that one. Completely got that one wrong. But listen, it'll be all right. If I keep on saying that people are going to be good and they turn out to be crap, well then I'll take that every day of the week. But yeah, listen, Leon Bailey, what a lightning rod for us to be able to bring in there. Let's go right back to the start again, so Paddy, because as I say we don't do anything linear here. Emiliano Martinez, man after my own heart. Only got back home at 2:00 in the morning and goes out and plays a match the next day. I was a big fan of doing that, except I probably had about 20 points the night before when I was doing that. But he got in at 2:00 in the morning. I don't know what the fuss is over. I did that for like 10 years.
Yeah, but the only difference was you played at 11:00 in the morning. He had to wait till 5:30.
Yeah, well then, so essentially maybe it was performance enhancing, but maybe the amount of alcohol is still in my system at that stage. But no, but fair play to him. Look, himself and Buendia got in at something like 2:00 in the morning. Flight from Croatia. Martinez was named in the starting 11. I think we all felt, look, and it's nothing against Jed Steer. It's just we have one of the best goalkeepers in the world at the moment in our football club. So you're going to feel a bit safer when you have him starting. And I think it really was the cherry on top for that back three, because that back three played absolutely brilliantly, I think. Yeah.
Look, the guy's a machine. I've no doubt in my mind he flew back in at 2:30 in the morning and probably got 12 hours sleep before he went to Villa Park, because he's that kind of guy. But on the other hand, Emi Buendia, we knew that he wasn't going to be part of it without being a part of any of the training sessions. A goalkeeper can come in and play exactly the same. He doesn't need to exert the same energy either as an attacking midfielder. So I think that picked itself. He's obviously better than Jed Steer. With all due respect to Jed Steer, it's probably our weakest backup position from what we have now across the board to bring somebody in. And even at that, it's not a bad option to have on the bench. But, he's no Asmir Begovic, as we saw at the weekend, come on and at short notice when Pickford got injured and played very well. Still has a lot in the tank there, I'd imagine. So fair play to him. I thought he did a decent game. Not much he could have done about any of the goals, I don't think. Two of them were rocketed at him and flew past him. But another clean sheet for Emi Martinez. Absolutely top notch. Absolute diamond we have there.
Yeah. Now I talk about the back three as well. And on the Villa View last night, I kind of alluded to it that this back three is actually, and we're going to take a look at something here in a moment, is with regards to how we're defending teams that are coming at us, specifically coming at us in that same position that Ismail Assar came at us, and I don't have basically what I did was I updated my computer recently, and I forgot to save just before I did it, and I lost the slides that I had for the Watford game. And it was only when I went back to look for them, I was going, it would have been a nice comparison to see how we defended, how Ismail Assar attacked us down the left, or down our left hand side, and how Everton did it, because the way we set up is completely different now that we've got three at the back, and it's way better. And we'll take a look at that as well. But this back three are exciting. I think we should get excited about it. I think when Tuanzebe came in, it was kind of after the Lord Mayor's show, after we had signed Ings, Bailey, and of course Jack had left, and he was almost like, he was like, if it was a newspaper, he would have been 4 pages in from the back when they announced his signing. Like, there was so much going on. Messi was after signing for Paris Saint-Germain. Ronaldo was talking about leaving. The next thing, Tuanzebe rocks up at Aston Villa. But looking at the way that he's been plonked into the middle of that defense, he's been a real marshal in the middle of that defense. I think he's been trusted to do an awful lot with regards to maneuvering people around in front of him. And I like that. And to be honest with you, I don't think he leaves Aston Villa. I don't think he leaves Villa Park at the end of this season. I think we go in, and I think if we have to spend 15-20 million on him during the January break. And look, I know I got bitten in the arse by Ross Barkley last year as well when we had him, and I was saying we would do this, but this is a much more pivotal role, I think, really, from the point of view of structure and the fact that we've completely changed our formation just for this guy. And I think it's really interesting. A lot of people say we changed it to Fittings and Watkins in up top. I'm not so sure. I think we changed it to get this guy in there and to make sure that we've got a more solid defense in the three at the back, because I think that they really wanted a defensive midfielder, but when they didn't get it, that this is them being adaptable to the players that we have. But Tuanzebe for me is, I think he's been excellent the last 2 games that we've played, absolutely excellent, and it's rubbed off. And look, Ming said his mistake 2 weeks ago. There was no need for him to have any excuse on Twitter yesterday, because at the end of the day, he played brilliantly. He was all over the place, and he all over the place in a good way. And it's nice to have him released from being the central defensive caller, if you want to call it that way, because we utilize him to start attacks with his long balls an awful lot. And it gives him that impetus to be able to do that and to concentrate on that, knowing that the 2 boys will always be back there as well. So I love this back three, man. I really love it.
And I think what you're saying is right, but I'm hoping it only costs us 15-20 million. But I envisage he's going to cost us a whole lot more to Nzabi, because I think with having bought the likes of Raphael Varane in there as well for Man U, he's only going to be a bit part player, so he will want to be part of this going forward. But it will be an interesting transfer window to see if we could put something together for him in January, because I'd imagine by that stage he'll be well forgotten about by Man U.
Absolutely. We'll move into midfield, see how the midfield went. Obviously there was a bit of upheaval, I suppose, and what was it, the 39th minute, I think McGinn went off. Somebody asked there a while ago, did we get any confirmation. Do you know? So it was Hungry Hippo. Do we know what happened to McGinn? The commentary during the game said we used the concussion sub to replace him. If that's true, isn't it worrying that he continued to play after he was hurt? Now, here we go.
Well,
we did use a concussion sub.
We did use a concussion sub.
But that doesn't mean he was concussed.
The only time I ever had concussion, it didn't kick in until about a half an hour later after the incident. So that's absolutely fine. You can be completely responsive and answer all the right questions when the physio comes on. 20 minutes, half an hour later, I started to feel dizzy, nauseous. My feet wouldn't do what they were supposed to do. And luckily, the guy on the sideline noticed that was the situation and I was taken off. But that's the only time I ever had it. So I could completely understand, and it completely resonated me when I saw McGinn coming off at a later stage. So there's nobody to give out to here. That's perfectly normal. And I've seen it happen a lot, especially in rugby. You see someone come back on after a HIA and 10 minutes later they're taken off.
Yeah.
Very little is made of it, but it is because there's a just delayed concussion and it is likely to happen. And plus, he did get another knock on the head a bit later on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting what you said there, because judging by mouth reading or by reading his lips when he went over to the ref and he kind of, I think he went to the ref first and then he went to the medical staff. And I think that's what he said. He goes, I think I'm going to puke or I'm going to throw up or something like that. It seemed like that's what he mouthed. It was something along those lines. I remember thinking at the time. Now, the rules state that, like, if you think the player is concussed or if there's any question the player may be concussed, you can take him off. But it definitely was a concussion sub anyway, because Everton got a fourth substitution, or we made 4 subs, so that means it had to have been a concussion sub. Yeah. Otherwise, we're getting the points taken off us, and that ain't the case. But look, I suppose all will become clearer over the course of the week. Plus, even though you're concussed, it doesn't mean that you can't go out the next day. I watch an awful lot of American football, and yes, you can say that there's dark arts of some of them maybe not giving two hoots about concussion. But I've seen a quarterback called Mason Rudolph nearly get his head ripped off his shoulders. Specifically, his face guard was grabbed and he was rammed into the ground, and he was, like, they pulled his face guard off his helmet and he was out cold for 10 seconds, and he bounced up off his feet and he played the next week again. And I'm no doctor, but like that, he should have been in hospital for a week after it. Never mind playing the next week. So I suppose it's not an exact science. And look, Jesus, if he's not right, don't play him. I'm not saying that I'm not taking this lightly or anything like that, but I'm saying if he's not right, don't play him. But I'd imagine that they'll be doing a lot of light sensitivity treatment or light sensitivity.
Well, there's a return to play.
There is, yeah,
exactly like rugby. So we probably won't see him again next Saturday. That's my opinion on it. I think it'll be. I think it's 10 days, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It's 10 days, but exactly. But it's 10 days if it was a confirmed concussion. That's what I'm saying. So we'll
know soon enough. And look, hats off to everyone involved. I think this rule is fantastic.
Oh, brilliant!
And I just hope it's never violated by somebody who uses it in a dark way in order to achieve an extra substitution, because that is likely to happen, and it's something they should keep an eye on. And, the clubs that are out there should respect it because it's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when he went off, Nakamba came on and we pushed Douglas Luiz up further forward. I'm look, not downplaying the fact that McGinn has been our best player this season, but Luiz played pretty good when he went up there. He was a lot more on the ball. It's probably more his natural habitat. Being a Brazilian, I'm sure he wants to get his foot in the ball and play around a small bit more. And also, look, once again, and until he plays badly, we're going to continue to say it. And I'm going to say Vivi Leahy or Lahi. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I could be even pronounce it.
Whether he's from Tipperary or not.
Yeah, if you're from Tipperary or from Limerick, you'll pronounce it completely different way. So you might need me from either of those two counties, and we might be butchering it all together. Super win on Saturday. JJ Ramsey looks a real talent, and well, he's after you can't bring 38 million euros worth of Emi Buendia in to replace Ramsey, because Ramsey's just playing too bloody well.
No, I thought, like, let's call a spade. He was quiet enough compared to his recent games on Saturday, I thought, but he had the old flashes of magic. But when he needed to be there and when he needed to work hard, he was working hard. But coming into the second half, very little for him to do, and you can't. You're right. You can't take him out. You know, the system is working well with him in it. It would be absolutely crazy to change it, but you know they just might, especially with the likes of Man United and Spurs away on the horizon. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. But it wouldn't be my first choice to change that now.
No, and I think you're right. I think what you say there is right. That like they won't just, how am I going to put this? Like they're going to have to rotate soon. With those two games coming up, and I think that there will be probably tactical shenanigans that will go on there from Villa, whereby they may not play a three at the back. But what I'm talking about here is, yes, pinpointing certain games and so on. But I'm thinking about if you were to say Dean Smith's long-term vision for what that midfield looks like. Jacob Ramsey has that small bit more grunt than I think anybody would have thought of, and I think that's kind of where I'm coming at when I'm talking about him. That you just aren't going to get that grunt from many other people, if any other people, to be honest with you, that we have in the team at the moment. Because and we're playing him a small bit further forward than I envisaged, actually, because of the way that he plays. But he is, I mentioned that I don't think Dean Smith got the defensive midfielder that he wanted, but I think that they didn't want to make a panic signing either. So this is the best of both worlds, I think, for Dean Smith to have Jacob Ramsey in there. And
can you throw up Ad's comment there about the blood sub before we move on from it?
Where is it? This one?
That one. Yeah. Just to clarify what I'm saying, if somebody uses it shadily, if you think, for example, Chelsea are playing, and I'm not saying for 1 minute Chelsea do it, Chelsea versus Burnley, completely bossing the game, can't get a goal, use their 3 subs, all of a sudden someone goes down concussed, they bring on Kai Havertz to bolster the attack. You know, that's how this could be used badly, and that's what I was alluding to earlier on. Like, and where that doesn't add up is, albeit Burnley will get another sub, but will that be any use to Burnley? Will they have the bench capable of coming on and change the game? Probably not. So that's where I hope it doesn't enter the game.
And that's fair enough. That's very fair from that point of view. Geez, I'm just looking at some of Ramsey's numbers. Ramsey's numbers were pretty decent. He had 2 shots. He had 31 passes from 46 touches. He did lose the ball 3 times during the game, but then again, McGinn lasted 3 times, and so did Louise as well. He attempted 4 tackles. He had 1 interception. He had the second most dribbles through the whole game of 4. So, you know, he gets involved, I think, as much as any of the rest of them. For a 19, 20-year-old, I'm very impressed by him. But do you know what is actually amazing? Who had the most dribbles? Who do you think had the most dribbles of the whole game, Paddy? Of anyone?
Probably Matty Cash, was it?
Oh, so close. He had the same amount as Ramsey at 4. Douglas Luiz was tasked with carrying the ball forward more in the second half, and he had 5 dribbles, which is really interesting. Really interesting.
Douglas Luiz in that system is like a new signing.
Oh yeah,
he's not. The leash has gone off him. He's free to roam now and do a bit of the attacking work as well. So I'm sure he's loving this system. I think he's the one that will benefit the most for him and McGinn, because there's an extra line of attack there, or defense there. So it gives them that safety net to go and do their best work going forward if they can.
Absolutely. And towards the boys up top, 2 lads up top there, and I'm going to ask you. You tell me how you thought the Watkins and Ings played in this game first, before I go on my monologue.
Well, we'll start with Watkins, because that's the easy one. Watkins played like he always did. He worked his socks off. He ran from pillar to post across that. Let's just say the 10 yards between the 2 sidelines and the other sideline, and he was just so hard working. But the one that went unnoticed for me was Danny Ings. The guy was bloody everywhere. He was absolutely phenomenal. He was a joy to watch. Anytime we ventured into their half, he was there looking for the ball. And that's something that we haven't had. Like, I know it's effectively a 2 up top, but he's dropping in a bit deeper beside Jacob Ramsey to pick up the ball. He's creating more space for others to overlap, like Matt Cash and whatever. he had a great part in the goal as well, hadn't he? Didn't he play the ball initially to Douglas Luiz, I think, for
Matty
Matty Cash?
Cash.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Right. Yeah. But for me, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
You've robbed my thunder because that's exactly what I was going to say. Danny Ings was brilliant. Danny Ings did not play up front. You look at his average position. Danny Ings didn't play up front. He played a lot more withdrawn in that game. And look, he started up front. His starting position obviously was up front for the majority of our kickouts and stuff like that. And when we were attacking, he was busting a gut to get up front. But he was taking the ball a lot in the middle of midfield. He was taking the ball a lot out on the right.
What he reminded me of was a young Robbie Keane.
Yes.
When the game wouldn't work for Robbie Keane, he would drop back as deep as he possibly could, win the ball back, and then drive forward and hope to be getting on the end of it. And that's exactly what Ings was doing. It just, like, I know I use Robbie Keane a lot because I used to love going to watch Villa versus Spurs or any Ireland game because nobody appreciates the work that the likes of Ings and Robbie Keane do off the ball unless you're actually at the game. So I haven't seen Ings play since we played Burnley, 6 or 7 years ago before we got relegated. When that's the last time, and he doesn't stand out for me from the times I've seen him play. But I will be watching. There's so many players when I get over there to actually watch them that I'm so looking forward to seeing. Jacob Ramsey being one, Emi Martinez being another. Leon Bailey, obviously, Watkins, the work he does, because you just don't see it on the TV because the camera lens is never wide enough. They show you what you need to see, and that's fair enough because you need to see that. But from a coaching point of view, to look at what these guys do off the ball is absolutely phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to seeing that in the flesh. And it's only a few weeks away, and I just hope everyone's fit because I really want to see it.
Yeah, that's actually a great shout on Robbie Keane. Like, is realistically a guy who isn't, he's not slow, but doesn't rely on his pace, knows how to play the game of football, and isn't afraid to roll up his sleeves and can bag a goal at the other end. Very, very good, good comparison actually. When you said it, like the ball that he played for Bailey's, like the assist that he played. Look, I know he had an absolute acreage to aim for, and it was a case of just getting it out there. But it was the fact that he was cute enough to know that, hey, we've got a little guy over there that's fucking faster than the new train that's going to go from London to Birmingham that cut through half a Bodymore Heath, So we're going to I'm just going to get the ball over there and I'm going to let him do the rest of it. And my God, did Bailey finish that well? He belted it. He took Asmir Begovic's soul with him when he hit it. It was so hard. And as I say, the rest is history. But Danny Ings, I thought, was really good, really unsung hero, I think, from yesterday. Both himself and Luiz. Be honest with you, I'd give Douglas Luiz nearly man of the match. I know Bailey's 21 minutes were just absolutely exceptional, but for me, it would have been between Ings and Douglas Luiz for man of the match because I thought both of them were they both just stepped up to the plate when we needed people, I think, yesterday.
Well, I think Bailey got man of the match because it was an easy option, because it was very hard to pick from one of the others. That's exactly how I felt about it. You could have given it to Matty Cash, you could have given it to Douglas Luiz, you could have given it to Watkins, Ings. They were all phenomenal workers and working hard. So it was an easy thing to do, just to give it to Leon Bailey in the end, and he probably did deserve it.
Absolutely. Look, it was a really, really enjoyable game to watch. I for sure hope that we see many more games like that again this year because this, not only with the tweak in formation, but the fact that we've got people who can come off the bench and real game changers coming off the bench is something that we can really, really strive for. Let's go to the comments before I want to pull up a small bit of a kind of a tactical review. This is a tactics talk piece. I want to show you a couple of still shots from the game with a couple of with my thoughts on what tactics were being used here and some positive points with somebody that I think is going to be close to every Villa fan's heart involved in this as well. But let's have a little look at some of the comments there. Don't want to neglect those either. Let's go back here a small bit. We have Dean was talking about Bailey. Dean said it reminds me a bit of my favorite ever, Dwight York, but with more pace. Well, look, if he has half the record that Dwight York had in English football, won't we be the smiley people at the end of it? Because Dwight York is definitely somebody that and to be honest with you, came from the same from the Caribbean as well. Maybe Dwight York was somebody that Leon Bailey looked up to, and maybe it could have been a reason why he came to Aston Villa. Who knows? Maybe it's a good question that somebody needs to ask him. Because I'm sure Aston Villa wouldn't have been on the tip of a lot of players' tongues in the Caribbean until somebody like Dwight York did make the break from. Oh, I'm going to get the name of the club. Can anybody out there Google this and tell me if I'm right? Is it Spring Hill that he came from? The club he came from in Trinidad?
Jeebers.
There's one for somebody. Put it in the comments there if I'm right. I think it's Spring Hill Academy or something like that. I could be wildly off, but that's just what's coming to my mind. Hungry Hippo says, thank you, Benitez. Match was tight for 60 minutes. Then he takes after a lone striker and we dominate the remainder of the game. I think Rondon doesn't have 90 minutes in him anymore. A good striker, albeit like he had 11 goals and 7 assists in his last time he played in the Premier League.
I thought he played well. He created a couple of chances as well. I thought he did okay. That's the best I've seen him play anyway.
Exactly. I thought he was pretty decent, but just doesn't have 90 minutes. And it was amazing that Benitez, they said beforehand that Benitez has actually signed him 3 times. Signed him for Newcastle, signed him out in China, and now has signed him again. So obviously sees something in him. For what his system dictates. Tom, good to see you, man. Tom was in the hold. He's glad Bailey's goal went in. As it would have knocked a few out if there was no net there. Yeah, I can imagine the lower hold. There would be scorch marks through the lower hold if there was no net there. So that was good. Yeah, absolutely. Ronan is back again. Ronan is back. What a game. The Lucky Charm is on the stream again tonight. Ronan was over there from Cavan. He's landed back again, but we need to get him back over there again ASAP because he's never seen Villa lose, which is always good.
He needs to go to the Wolves game with me.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of questions here about the Chelsea game. I'm going to just skip over those. I will come back to them though at the end when we're chatting about them again. There's a person like Ireland under Kenny, 3 centre backs allows anyone to step into midfield and create an overload in midfield. Yeah, you just be hoping that the results are different with our 3 centre halves than the Irish 3 centre halves, though. Although I will say Obama Daly, it does look a player for Norwich. Really, really looks a player. And if we were looking for somebody to come in at some stage, I wouldn't say no to him.
And that's one fella I was lucky to see in the flesh. He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah,
he's a footballer. He's a lovely touch.
He's also a specimen. You look at him. He's rangy looking. There's touches of kind of Tuanzebe about him. And the kind of physical build of him. He's built like a boxer. Like he's pretty good. John Steele says Douglas Luiz played really well in a more advanced role when McGinn went off. We're no longer in trouble when one player is missing apart from Martinez. Couldn't agree anymore. The depth in this team is really there, and it's there to see, and hopefully we continue to build on that depth. And if we can bring in guys from our academy and make them stick, as I said, like the Jacob Ramsey, well then that saves us millions and millions and millions in the long run. And look, I know we paid 38 million for Buendia, but if Jacob Ramsey turns out better than Buendia, we will forget all about that 38 million, because we'll always look after one of our own. I might be wrong, says Nakamba was brilliant. You aren't wrong. I think he played very well.
No, he did very well. Yeah, absolutely.
I think he said it very well. Dara says something that struck me about Villa this weekend. Hugely threatening when teams have to come out and go for it. When Villa lead with time ticking, I think we'll see more goals for the villains. Up the Villa. Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. We're even this 3-5-2, well, it's not set up to counter attack. I think we're just as dangerous on the counter attack, and I think that's a very good observation. And it's exciting because we will still have 2 players up front in this 3-5-2. So we can go both ways, either go wide through target and cash, or go route 1 and hope that our midfield steam onto it. Maybe one of our centre halves does push up into midfield, as one of the guys said there earlier on as well. Ad says Ramsey had another great game. He's dripping with confidence. If only he scored his chance, Villa Park would have exploded. Yeah. Absolutely. As I say, we love one of our own for sure. And there's an open spot there for a hometown darling that's just waiting to be taken. And I hope he takes it as well. Oh, this is an interesting one from Dean. Love three at the back. Ugo, Southgate, God, or Stan all used to bring the ball out from the back into midfield and made things happen. Tyrone, Axel, and Esri can all do that. Good times. We do have previously playing. John Gregory was a big fan of three at the back or five at the back, whichever way you want to play it. And defending right on. John Gregory was the master of defending right on the 18-yard box, and he didn't care what the other team brought, because we played. But then again, we played in the Premier League whereby nobody shot from 25 yards out. It was almost a sin to do it. But absolutely, if we can get back to how dominant we were back then, or how much we were pushing up the table back then I'm all for that. Absolutely. Hungry Hippo says, speaking of American football, I wonder what connection Neil has to Cleveland. Only comes to mind because I'm from Ohio. The only connection I have to Cleveland, Ohio, and the Cleveland Browns is the fact that Randy Lerner was over Aston Villa. So that's it. I've been drunk in Cleveland a couple of times. That's the only other connection that I have with it. It's a really cool town, actually. It reminds me an awful lot of Limerick. And I don't know, some of you are going to take that as a negative for Cleveland, for the Cleveland Tourism Board, but I bloody loved it. The people there are absolutely sound as trouts. They're sound out, and I loved every second of it while I was over there. I was supposed to be actually going the start of September for the home opener. Actually, last weekend, just gone. I was supposed to be going over for the Texans game, but alas, didn't happen. So probably won't get over there this year. Let's see what else that we have here. There's tons of comments. I won't be able to read all of them. Apologies about that, but it's like you guys are having a great old chat in the comments there. It's great to see, and everybody is so positive here. Rod, thank you so much. You're welcome for the work. You know, all we do is chat.
Cheers, Rob.
You know, we absolutely love it. Thank you so much. And you say it's very much appreciated. That's very much appreciated as well too. Thank you so much, my friend. That is it's great stuff. We've someone here from Limerick. Immediately goes to the top of the queue. If you mention you're from Limerick, whether you are or whether you aren't, your comment will be read out. I'm like Ron Burgundy. I will read whatever's on the teleprompter as long as you say you're from Limerick. That's the way it goes.
I think I figured out where True Magpie is from. Can you see the comment
there?
I
can see that there. Now this is a very niche comment. I don't think our friend in Ohio is going. May not get this unless he's of Irish extract. But Bailey was like Eamon Taff for Clare in the final of '95. Came on as a sub, did a job.
I think we can figure out now that the Magpie is the Clare Castle reference. So that's where that lad is from.
Maybe so. Yeah. But yeah, it did. In all my years doing an Aston Villa podcast, if I was to do it for another 50 years, did Everton game and Taff would come up on an Aston Villa podcast? No, absolutely not.
What do you say about Clare hurling, Neil? You go blind?
Oh, you go blind from watching that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Watch this. Keane Lynch is DC's religion teacher. There you go. You couldn't be taught by a better man. That's for sure.
I'm just laughing that Keane Lynch could possibly be a teacher. There you go.
Keane Lynch is a teacher, yeah, absolutely is a teacher. Anyway, we're going right down the rabbit hole. I'm going to bring it back here to Aston Villa because I could stay talking about Limerick hurling all day long and about Cleveland Browns football. But let's bring it back to Aston Villa for a moment. I have a small piece here that I want to share with you guys. Obviously, a lot has been made of the win and the tactics and the new 3-5-2 tactic that we're playing, but also that's been made of a certain man by the name of Austin McPhee and how we're setting up differently for certain things and how we've made certain things happen within the set piece areas. And I watched back this game 3 times. What I was telling Paddy beforehand, I watched the second half because I was wrecked on Saturday night, and then I watched the first half. I watched it through, and I watched it again today. And I just wanted to pick out 1 or 2 little events, and specifically within the first half, because look, we all know that everything went out the window in the second half. Once we scored, they changed their formation slightly. Then we scored a second time, and then the third time was just gravy on top. And I'm not even going to break down the tactic or the setup, how we set up for Bailey's corner that went in off the head of Dina. But I want to look at maybe more small bit more, how will I put it? I'm not going to call them innocuous incidents during the game, but in the first half when things were on the ropes and we were still trying to feel each other out, I think these are probably a better staple of what we're looking at. But let's take a look first at the game stats, and I hope to Christ I haven't made a typo in any of these, because Jesus, people from the other clubs get fair touchy if you make a typo in these at all. Oh my God. I thought I had to check underneath the car that there wasn't a bomb underneath my car after the fucking Watford game. I thought they were going to take me out of it. I had some amount of DMs calling me every name under the sun, but it was all in good jest and fun, I presume. Anyway, we had better possession, 56%, 44% for Everton, 15 shots to 11, and that's interesting. The fact that we're actually now getting to take shots, and we're making chances, should I say? Maybe not the best quality of chances, but still chances nonetheless under this new formation. 3 shots on target, 12 chances created in total. 384 passes to their 310. We had an 80% pass success rate to their 74%. Once again, our pass success rate has actually gone up these last 2 weeks based on the weeks and some of the weeks previously. Apart from Watford, ironically enough, where we actually had a higher pass success rate, but we more so passed it around ourselves. Our XG was up at 0.81. From memory, I think that may be the highest that we've had so far this year. At 0.81 to their 0.667, still not anything really to write home about. XG from open play is still low, while XG from set pieces is still higher than the majority of teams. We won 56 out of our 107 duels, which is good. That means that if you're winning 50% of the 50-50s, you should be coming out with more of the ball and more of the possession.
Who won the other 5?
What 5?
Because it says Everton only won 51.
Well, no, so Everton had 107 duels as well, but they only won 51 of the 107. I suppose some of them would be called a draw. I actually remarked in that as well. I went, we bought it the same amount of duels, and I presume that's with somebody tackling somebody else, or somebody going up in the air with somebody else, or something like that.
So it's the ball played by yourself to somebody else that becomes a duel.
Whoa. Wait a minute. 56 and 51 is 107.
So it is.
My maths check out here. My maths check out on this one. Moving swiftly along, we had 50% dribble success rate, 26 dribbles to their 11, and 5 of their 11 came from Damari Gray. So we were much better at progressing the ball on the ground and trying to take the game to them, which is interesting because Abdullah Dukari has been a real kind of driving force for them this season.
When you consider the dribbling talent they had in their team, you mentioned Damari Gray as well. Mm-hmm. So that's phenomenal stats.
Yeah, it was really interesting one, and like we really nullified Dukari, and I think we'll see this here. And I don't have my opacity meter where I can move the two of them here, because foolishly I turned this into an XML file. So and you'll see there's a actually, do you know what I'm going to do here? I can't. Apologies. I said I was going to bring it up here so I could show the opacity of where the, or can I? I can't. Talk amongst yourselves there. I might be able to. I have it. Let me just share this with you here, because it'll just be a better representation, I think, of the just to kind of show you how we kind of stopped Dukari, because it was like that was pretty pivotal, I think, in what we wanted to do when we were trying to do so. So here it is. This is how we set up, as opposed to how they set up. Where is it? Yeah, so let's look at it here. So I can see here, this is how we set up here with our back four. Obviously, Konza, Tuanzebe, Mings, bit of a gap here between Konza and Tuanzebe. Cash was a small bit further forward. Target over there on this side as well. See the way we packed midfield. I mentioned as well that Danny Ings spent a lot of time back around in this area, and we really just created a wall here to stop their deep midfielders from coming forward. And we'll see this here when we look at it. Here, we basically just crowded out 6 and 16. So we crowded out their two central midfielders and didn't give them a sniff of it at all. And that was really, really pivotal, I think, to what we wanted to do. We did give a small bit of leeway over here on the left-hand side, but that was okay because obviously we had the guys here to track back. We had Kanza, and we had Cash here as well, and they performed pretty well as well. And we went more so, I'm not going to say have a man-to-man kind of situation over here, but we kind of did where Mings more or less man marking, and what you call him here, taking up Target here, taking up the right back, who was Ben Godfrey here. And as I say, we pressured Ben Godfrey an awful lot in that game. We put him under so much pressure, which was really interesting. But the way that we set up was really to block out their two deep line midfielders where all their stuff comes from, stop them from running forward with the ball, and they just didn't, and it really, really worked. Ings just like haired around here, the three boys in the middle of midfield, McGinn, Douglas Luiz and Jacob Ramsey just basically were playing battering rams and stoppers inside there, and we were able to get our width as well from our two full backs. So really, really well set up. I don't have the comparison to how we set up last week as well. Usually I have that in here, but I neglected to put it in this time. But definitely Jacob Ramsey was that small bit further forward, and our two other midfielders here in Jacob are in Douglas Luiz and John McGinn are definitely further forward. We're definitely further forward. So the game plan was to stand down on these guys here and give them zero room, force Everton wide, and see what they can do from out wide. So yeah, that was a really interesting piece there that I thought of how we set up in comparison to how they set up. So I'm just going to switch back to my other piece there. It'll just be easier to share then. Sorry for all the mess in here. So here we go. And I'll just go on past this. So this is where we took our shots from. This is our shot map where we took our shots from. Obviously, the two, they kind of look like car wheels here, but they're actually where the goals were scored from. Bailey's goal from here, and Cash's goal from here. Obviously, the one was no own goal. It went down as an own goal, so it's not marked there. But you can see that a lot of our shots came from kind of tepid enough areas. A lot of them were headers. Like this is Ming's header here at the front post. I think one of these is a Kanza header from the back post, if I'm not mistaken. And then you've got Danny Ings' banana shot from there as well. So it's an interesting shot map. Also, and Douglas Luiz's
two shots from outside the box then as well.
Yes, and Douglas Luiz's outrageous shot from a free kick from right out here near the corner flag. Absolutely outrageous. So that's where our shots came from. I wanted to take a look at how we set up in defense and how our back five back three looks like. It's really interesting. It's really interesting because when we play with a back four, we're very compact, very, very compact. And I still think that we are still compact with a back three or back five. But the way that we kind of set up is very interesting here once again. So we can see here that. Well, you can't really because it's a bit blurred, but the Everton are attacking down that their right wing or left wing here, and we can see the Target and Ramsey have the opportunity here now that we've got three at the back, have the opportunity to go out and press the man with the ball. Once the ball is played down here in towards the winger, Mings has the opportunity to go out and attack him. But look where Douglas Luiz is. He's taking up that familiar position, protecting the D there, making sure of any runners here. Probably like him to be a bit further back here, but then again, we do have the lurking spectre of whoever this man is here. I can't remember who it is, but whoever they have there. So he's in a decent position. John McGinn is just caught in here behind the referee, making his way back. But it's a nice setup. I think it's a nice setup from where we are here. We were nowhere near as well set up as this against Watford. We were so scattered. There was a gap between our two centre halves. It was almost the size of what's a big river in the UK? The River Humber. I think that's a massive wide river, if I'm not mistaken. So it was like, but here we can see while there is a gap here, Douglas Luiz is plugging it for anyone running through. Kanza is doing a bit of marking inside here on Rondon, and Axel is a small bit free. Cash is taking an eye on Damari Gray running in here to the back post. You can just see the back of his foot there in the screen grab that I have. But as we move on here, this is the interesting part here. Look at this. These guys have been drilled in to play this. And I know, look, that this is the last thing you guys want to see is lines drawn across the screen because of VAR, but this isn't bad This isn't a bad line to be able to take here. So I think it's Luca Dean as the ball out here. Mings has gone to him, so Mings is out here. We still have Jacob Ramsey in target who are trotting back. Maybe I don't know how fast or how slow they were getting back here. But Douglas Luiz is coming here to plug that gap that I said that he was coming to plug. So when if that ball is played in, and it is played in here in a moment, Douglas Luiz gets in there. McGinn is protecting the edge of the D in case the ball comes back out this way towards the on-runner here, and we've got our 3 men inside here just making sure that if anything goes in there, they can just crowd people out, and it worked. Now, Rondon did get a little toe poke and it hit the side netting and it went out for a corner. It wasn't a corner, but the ref gave a corner. But I'm really liking the setup that we have here. You can see it turns very much into a back 4. It gives us lots of people to compress that can hog the D, and plug these gaps here. So it's definitely a work in progress still, but it's a lot more sturdy, and it gives there's a lot better spacing of players here so that there aren't massive gaps that we do see with a 4 at the back. I really like it. And this is just one instance I picked, and it's actually the only instance I picked because the reason I wanted to pick it was because there's a deadly line here for defense. And I know they're very deep to be playing offside, but still everybody can see what's going on here. And obviously Douglas Luiz is in the right spot, which is music to all of our ears. Put it this way, if we defended like this when the ball was cut back for Ivan Toney's goal, Ivan Toney wouldn't have scored. I can say that categorically. If we had the players in these positions, Ivan Toney would not have scored. Let's move on here for defending set pieces. Everybody's favorite topic. How many times last year, Paddy? I would say between 116,000. How many times would we have said John McGinn was caught at the back post with a big man again?
Yeah, well, by the looks of that, those days are over, aren't they?
Those days are over. He couldn't be any further away from the back post when we're defending a corner here. So what we can see is that Ings is marking the penalty spot. Mings, Konza, and Target. Also, you have Watkins, I think, and Jacob Ramsey are in there as well. Watkins and Cash, I think, are in there. I'm not actually sure if that's Watkins. It is. It is Ollie Watkins, 11 on his back, and Cash are in there, and I'm sure that Matty Target or that Jacob Ramsey is in there. So basically what we're doing is we're crowding out in around here. Axel Tuanzebe is now taking the back post, realistically, the runner from the back post. This would have been John McGinn's job, and McGinn is out there for the short free kicks. We're learning. How many times last year, as I said, Vestergaard over the top got the header. Ben Mee got the header last year on John McGinn, marking the back post. What we used to do previously was the back post was no man's land, and it was for Emi Martinez to get back there and to gather the ball. But the only man that was blocking space back there was John McGinn. Now we have a bit more sturdiness here. We've got Konza who's free here. We've also got Tuanzebe who's marking man-to-man. And we've got Target here who's marking, I think that's Solomon Rondon. The Target is marking at the back there. Maybe not the best matchup, but still, it's better than having John McGinn marking people from corners, exactly. which I thought was really interesting. Yeah.
And look, that's the beauty of having our man there giving the thumbs up.
There he is. Thumbs up for Austin McPhee. Yeah. That's what he's there for, to spot these things, to sort them out, and to get people lined up. And I think he was pivotal to a lot that we did today. Here we go from the Mings header from the set piece. This is the one where John McGinn got injured. Really interesting set piece build up here. We have loads of people here inside in the 6-yard box. We have Danny Ings out here on the penalty area once again. We have 2 men. Like, this is really interesting. And it's almost borderline strange. Look where 2 men are set up here, almost equidistant either side of the D. We've got Douglas Luiz taking the corner, I think it is, over here.
There's nothing strange about that setup, because if you're told as a goalkeeper, if you've got to come and punch, that's the area you're punching to.
Yeah. So but what I'm saying is it's not something that you would regularly see even in the Premier League.
For us, yeah. But that makes complete sense, because you don't want your keeper punching straight down the middle to whoever's running onto it. You want it being out at an angle, so those guys have an option to tuck back into the middle or pull out wide and get the ball back into the box.
Yeah. It's like it, and once again, a lot of the stuff that you'll see from set pieces is just thinking. It's just thinking and not acting on impulse. But what we see here is Mings obviously is in here. He's behind the goalkeeper. He makes his run from behind the goalkeeper around to get here just in front, and then flicks the ball on. But the real interesting piece for this, for me, is when we look at it from behind here. When Mings gets his head on the ball in this instance here, he's left the ground, he gets his head on the ball. Look at all the Villa bodies that are around here. If Begovic just gets a hand to it and just parries it out in front of him, we have so many bodies here. If it hits somebody and drops to the ground, we've so many bodies there to try and bundle it over the line. Before, we would have all these players out here jostling for position, trying to get in around and whatever else. We've got McGinn, we've got Axel Tuanzebe, we've Watkins, we have I think that's Konza. Well, it is, yeah, it's Konza there at the back post that I haven't highlighted. They're all waiting in around there, all big men that if that ball drops and someone tries to swing a leg at it, well, we've got big legs inside there as well that can try and stop them from getting that ball out there. In this instance, Begovic made a brilliant save because Mings' header was nearly too good. But it's just the thought process behind it. And I'd be interested to see if we try this again in the future, because it was really well thought up of if that is the case and if this was meant, and by all means, I think it was. Last piece here that we have, and once again, thumbs up from Austin McPhee because he got a shot on target from it and we very nearly scored. So I presume he must be absolutely delighted with that. And this is the pièce de la résistance. I think this is really the gravy.
My favorite piece. This was nearly as good as Bailey's goal. This was a joy to watch. I really, really enjoyed this set piece.
It was absolutely brilliant. Cash here with the hand up. Watch all the Everton boys here on a line. Two men. I don't know why they have a two-man wall here. Like who's going to shoot from there? Like I know why they are there, but to me it's always baffling. And it's but yeah, it's there so that the keeper can come out a small bit and narrow the angle for potential ball in here behind them. But it looks silly. But what we have here is Cash and Konza over the ball. Off screen here, we've got Matty Target. We just can't see him. But we've got a Villa set up here on the edge of the box, which looks like, for all intents and purposes, we're going to try and play that ball into that corridor, past them there, past the 18-yard line, and somebody's going to try and attack it and get onto it. But no, Villa have other ideas. The ball goes square to Matty Target. Goes square. What's that? 30 yards over to Matty Target. And we can see the Everton players here have to break. Their line is not a line anymore. We can see it here. It's ragged. It's jagged. They don't know what they're doing. There's a man here, Iwobi, has broken from the line to get out at Target. They're beginning to panic. But look who's on the snake here in the back, at the back post here. Konza's on his way. He was standing beside Matt Castro. Matt Castro played the ball. And Konza's on the march here behind us. I think I'm not quite sure who that is that's there. I think that might be Alan is trying to track him, but Alan hasn't a clue what's happening here, and their defense is in disarray at this stage. Ball gets played into the back post here to Konza. Konza nods the ball down. Look at that Everton line. It's non-existent. Everton are chasing. They have no idea what's going on here. You've got Watkins, Ings, and Mings in here. The ball comes back to Mings. And the rest is, like, as I say, Mings nods the ball down here. And if Danny Ings had a left foot there, I think he would have buried it. But he went with a right-footed shot, and it was a deadly banana shot up over the bar. If that had gone in, it would have been goal of the century. But it didn't. But I think the set piece was what was brilliant. And it really bamboozled Everton. And that's what you want to do. You want to move their line out. Stop the offside in an instance like that. You're taking a free kick from an intermediate position is what you want to call it. It's too far out for a shot. It's kind of too far out for a cross. You shift the point of attack from that free kick, and you get them moving out. Well, what you're doing is their line is all off. The likelihood of offside in this instance is nil because of where Konza's running from. You've got all the space to play that ball back in here because everyone. Sorry, I'm pointing at the screen with my hand. You've all the space to play the ball back into this space here, back to where Cash and Konza were, because everybody is filed over the other side of the field, waiting for a right-footed cross. It was really well worked, and it's these small idiosyncrasies, these little top points that Austin McPhee has that are really interesting, and it's a breath of fresh air to watch. And once again, I'm sure that Austin McPhee would have given a big heads up for that because we got another good chance from it as well.
And what we're seeing is he's not just there to instigate the long throw. He's got everything in his armory. That's people shaking their heads at him coming in. That's why he's there. He's going to pull one of these out in every game. There's going to be something different thrown at an opposition in every game. And one in 4 or 5 coming off is worth every penny that the man is earning in that position, because he's doing a great job so far, and long may it continue, because I tell you, if that goal had gone in, we would be talking about it for years. It was absolutely sublime. Everything about it, the pass to target, the brilliant ball into Konza, the head down by Mings right onto his foot. Pity it was with the outside of his foot and he didn't get the full control of the ball, as we'll say. But by God, if that banana kick had ended up in the top corner, Danny Ings would be sitting up there getting goal of the season, and he probably would have been goal of the season and runner-up goal of the season from the boys got kick in the last game. So anyway, well done.
And he played the ball. Let's not forget as well that, look, I'm not going to say that Aston McPhee said, yeah, put it on the outside of Danny Ings' boot there and he curled it into the top corner, but he's ball to Bailey afterwards was a bit of an outside the boot flick, out into space as well. So just goes to show the nous of Danny Ings, I think is the word I'm looking for there, of how he can play the game and what he's bringing to this team. And he's 2 goals in 5 games. Yeah, people might say goals have dried up for him, but he won't care if he only gets to 10 goals this season. We won't care as long as we keep winning and scoring 3 goals a game. Spread them out amongst the team. It makes you way, way, way more dangerous. And the way you will spread them out amongst the team is via set pieces.
Exactly.
Paddy, anything else you want to go through before we wrap it up? Jesus, we're over an hour. I get murdered. A 20-minute podcast, I said, before I walked up the stairs, and then an hour later I'm here and I'm talking about
You nearly made Owen Bradley said he nearly peed there when you said
I suppose, Paddy, we talk about Chelsea for 5 minutes before we go. Okay. What do you think the team will be for Chelsea before we?
Let's not skip on till we talk about the other 2 goals, because there were 2. Matty Cash's goal, his first goal at Villa Park. I loved Mark Regan's commentary. Look at his face. He had a look of a guy who just won the lottery. He was absolutely brilliant, and he ran nearly the full length of the pitch to celebrate in front of his fans or his family. So fair play to him. He's been phenomenal since he came to us, and a cracking player. And Bailey's corner was absolutely sublime. Not since Steve Staunton have we seen anything like that. Not to, I like to bring Steve Staunton into the conversation. But
what was the game, Paddy? What was the game in the year? I can't remember. I tried to.
Oh, he did it twice. He did it against Wimbledon
in '95. I thought was one.
I think Wimbledon 94, 95, and he did it against Crystal Palace at Villa Park. I'm really sure. And he did it against Northern Ireland at Lansdowne Road.
He did it Northern Ireland against Lansdowne Road as well, yeah. And Dion Bailey didn't know in front of the whole end.
Well, we'll never know whether Begovic would have been caught under the ball or not, but I think it was just enough of a touch to put him off and put it over his head. But it's fantastic in swinging corner. And it just goes to show that he has a lot in his locker, and a marvellous addition to have.
And I must say that, like, Douglas Luiz was taking corners as well. His corners weren't half bad either. The ones he took, the one he put in Mings' head was quite good too. So, they definitely weren't half bad. Yeah, for sure. What's the thought process? The thoughts on Chelsea? I don't know if we're going to get a team sheet tantrum before Chelsea tomorrow. We might. We'll endeavour. Maybe a 10-minute one or whatever. Wednesday. Sorry, yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah. My thought process is more the same. I think we will see different people in that system, but I do envisage we'll see Courtney House play there, because we won't have Tehu and Zabi on Saturday. So Courtney House will come in, Mings will play in the middle, Courtney House on the left of the 3. Don't know what happened.
Do you think Tehu and Zabi doesn't play because he won't be there on Saturday? I think he's more likely to play against Chelsea.
No, I'd say he doesn't play. I'd say it'll be, well, maybe he'll give Mings a rest and he'll play Tehu and Zabi in that central role, possibly. Not sure if Morgan Sanson was carrying an injury. No, I don't think anyone asked the question. Where I watched the match, I was at a communion and I wasn't in a position to listen to the.
Wasn't Ashley Preece said that he was doing some running work afterwards? He just didn't make the bench.
That's madness. But anyway, but look, he's a guy who needs a good game under his belt, and Wednesday's the time for that. I'd like to see Cameron Archer get a run. I wouldn't mind seeing Ollie Watkins or Danny Ings get a rest. And throw Courtney House in there because, as we said already, he's going to if we're going to play that system, he's going to have to play Saturday because Tuanzebe is, I was going to say cup tied, but he can't play against his parent club. So there will need to be that change. So why not do it Wednesday night and see how we get on with it? As I said, make the changes in midfield, maybe start Nakamba, drop Dougie out of there, and McGinn is obviously not going to play. So we might see Morgan Sanson in there with maybe even give Aaron Ramsey a break and put Buendia in there. We'll see.
I think that if I was to name my team now, I would say Martinez will start in goals. I just think they'll start in there because they will have a different back three. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lamar Bogard in there in a back three. I wouldn't be surprised if they give if they played something like my mind's gone blank now. Courtney House, Axel Tuanzebe, Lamar Bogart in a back three, and then had. But then again, I think Cash will probably play. I don't want him to play because I don't know who we bring in there unless we play Hayden Lindley. He brought on Hayden Lindley as a right back the last day, and in the Carabao Cup. I think Ashley Young starts on the left. I think we see lots of changes. Essentially, is what I'm saying here. I think we'll have a midfield of Nakamba. I think we'll see Nakamba, Sanson, and Buendia in midfield. I think we potentially see Aaron Ramsey come off the bench, Jacob's younger brother. I think we see El Ghazi potentially up front with Cameron Archer, or in a more advanced position with Cameron Archer. Or I think we might even go back, like most likely everything is probably saying that we go back to a 4-2-3-1, and we have El Ghazi, Buendia, and Traore behind maybe a Caleb Chekmoeka or an Aaron Ramsey. Up there, not Aaron Ramsey, Cameron Archer up there as well. So it's going to be an interesting team sheet on Wednesday. Look, Paddy, we said it, how many times did we say it last year? And Dean Smith, I felt Dean Smith used to give out to us for saying there's no such thing as a free shot in football. But this kind of is a free shot. We've played them a couple of weeks ago. We're going to play them again. Don't think they're going to start our full team. We certainly won't start our full team. Yeah. We'll see what way it goes.
I'd be very surprised if they have anything resembling the first team out. Bearing in mind all the Champions League games that they've got coming up, they effectively don't have a week off now for 4 or 5 weeks. They're playing midweek, So I would imagine they wouldn't be too arsed whether they're knocked out of this cup or not.
Yeah,
they've bigger fish to fry. So
do Villa go hell for leather on Wednesday against Chelsea to stay in the cup and probably say, listen, we're going to get fuck all in Old Trafford with Mike Dean reffing with Ronaldo back at the weekend and just kind of call a spade a shovel, really?
I can't see it. I honestly don't think he will, but I think at this stage it'd be madness of us to second guess what Dean Smith is going to do, because he's surprised everybody this season for a man that supposedly doesn't have a plan B. I reckon he had plan B, C, D, E, and F. So in Dino we trust. We'll see what happens, and I'm not too fussed. I'd like to see those guys get a game. I would like to see us put it up to Chelsea, but I'm not too fussed what he does, but I think we'll be in with a shout regardless of what team puts out, because Chelsea won't have a full team.
I think so too. And look, I suppose we'll endeavour to be here for a team sheet tantrum for that game as well, and we'll see what happens.
We'll try.
We'll try as well. Yeah. It's just a busy week for me anyway, but we'll see what the story is. But yeah, lads, we're tipping on to nearly an hour and 10 minutes here. I'll be murdered. It's 10:10 here. But thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. We had some really, really great questions, some really, really great comments in there as well. And I love the little community we're building up here as well. It's great to chat Villa. It's great to have you guys on board as well. And I love that you're chatting to each other in the chat as well, which is good. And look, really appreciate it, because if there was no one showing up to these live streams, we wouldn't be doing them. But thanks so much for everything. And as I say, look, three points in the bag against Everton at the weekend. September's looking a bit better than it would have been if we didn't win those 3 points, and staring down the barrel of who we have still to come. We will pull another result out of this month yet. I'm quite sure of it. Who knows? Might be at the weekend. Man United haven't gotten a penalty this season yet. Mike Dean, Old Trafford early start.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm not expecting us not to give away a penalty, if that makes sense. But yeah, look, we'll see. We'll talk about that when it comes. But thanks so much, everybody, for listening. You can catch Paddy on @VillaPaddy. You can catch me on @LoveMcGrathPod. Thanks a million for all the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the retweets, everything else. And we're going to leave you back to your families again. Sorry for keeping you for so long, but all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.